I sit on the Committee of Education. Gulu was closed at the same time with Busoga University. I thought as a ministry, even as members of parliament on the Committee of Education, we would know. Because those children that have reached university level, the people who are employed in those two universities, they automatically have an impact on our country. I support you. Let us call the Minister of Education to come and explain to us whatever happened for the lives of our people.
No, I think the case has been made.
Yeah. So
just put your request.
Right Honorable Speaker, on Gulu University, even Kitgum campus was newly opened. That was opened last year, but is now closed. Why? So can the Minister of Education really explain this to us? Finally, one simple but very important issue is about refugees. We have refugees in the country. We would like to know if students or children of these refugees can also be registered, can get national ID for Uganda.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker.
Honourable Member, you are not visible. The way you address, you are not visible. You cannot speak in this house.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Maybe Minister of Foreign Affairs.
Procedure, Madam Speaker. Procedure, Madam Speaker.
You are still not visible.
Procedure, Madam Speaker. Procedure, Madam Speaker. Procedure, Madam Speaker. Procedure, Madam Speaker.
You cannot speak.
Right Honorable Speaker, I'm glad that you can see me now. The point I want to raise is very critical for this country because we have, I think, 4 ministers in charge of the sector for education, including the First Lady of this country, but none of them are in the House. Whereas I know that the leader of government business is taking note of what is transpiring, we would be interested in an immediate response to this critical matter and also some additional outstanding questions like when is Bunyoro University going to start? When is Busoga University going to be a public university? She needs to come here and answer. Is this procedure right for us to continue? At least you guys, I would be interested if you would ask the Prime Minister to respond when the Minister of Education is going to come here and respond to these critical matters. When the Bunyoro University is going to start as a public university.
And Renzori. Now, Prime Minister, this issue is really grave. The closure of universities, midstream students are left in the air. When can we have a step? Because it's really urgent. Prime Minister.
Madam Speaker, I sit here as a government leader of government business of the House, and therefore whatever we say here is recorded. And we are going to say that a response by responsible ministers will be availed at appropriate time. Because let me finish, madam.
Oh, no,
Let me finish.
then you respond.
Let me finish. let me finish. So I want to
Order members, order members.
I want to, on behalf of the ministers who must respond, I think we want to undertake that the government will respond to all what has been raised. And as to whether I'm listening or not, I'm listening full time, except also that I'm being supported by what we can get from the Hansard. So people should not worry whether I am sleeping or not. That should not worry them.
No.
Procedure, Madam Speaker, procedure.
Prime Minister, and thank you, but let us get the ministers to come and explain the issue of the closures. It affects so many young people. Parents have spent money. They need to know where they are going.
Procedure,
So,
procedure,
very
Madam.
quickly,
Procedure, Madam Speaker, procedure.
Order which very quickly, 2 minutes, 2 minutes, 2 minutes, 2 minutes.
Thank you so much, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, about a month ago, the red paper publication was raided, its editors arrested, directors arrested, a radio station that belongs to red paper was also closed, and the station closed. Right Honourable Speaker, the attack on red paper cannot be seen as an isolated case, that it is limited to red paper. As we talk now, the editor of Daily Monitor is just out on bail. Ichachi Charles. The editor of New Vision is out on bail. I think Felix Osike, one of the New Vision reporters. Top Radio has just issued a statement that they cannot host anybody critical of government, specifically the opposition. Right Honourable Speaker, while they raided red paper, 370 phones were taken from staff, 100 computers confiscated. Over 5,000 people have lost jobs, and the case that they are charged with is that they annoyed General Kayihura, they annoyed General Sare, they annoyed General Museveni, they annoyed General Muhoozi. Now, that case notwithstanding, Right Honourable Speaker, they were taken to Narufenya for a week, and from Narufenya, they were taken to court and have been remanded, I think now, for 3 weeks. Right Honourable Speaker, this is suffocation of the media. We may think that this is limited to red paper, but as I talk now, a radio station in Kanungu was closed the other day. Right Honourable Speaker.
In Mbarara,
Right Honourable Speaker. Order, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, I wanted to know whether it is in order for this August House to discuss a matter that is before courts of law.
Honorable, you told me that you wanted to speak about the confiscation of the phones of the 5,000 employees. You can't talk about the case itself. You talk about the issue you can talk to me about.
well, Right Honourable Speaker, the confiscation of the computers, the confiscation of the phone, and of over 5,000 young people have lost jobs, have lost jobs.
Right Honourable Speaker, the matter at hand is critical. And, of course, we don't want to talk about the matter in courts of law. But the information I want to give my colleagues is that there is a high level of impunity that we are allowing to build incrementally amongst the government institutions. UCC, for example, has refused to renew licenses for almost all media houses in this country. And that one is used as a method of gagging them when it comes to critical issues. Number two, Right Honorable Speaker, I need protection from my honorable colleague Guma, who has confessed he's not a man, and from whom I've learned that fact today. Right Honorable Speaker, the impunity amongst government institutions, in this particular case, UCC, is denying government revenue because they do not want to renew license. In the process, they keep these media houses guessing whether they would survive until the following day. Two, we are denied revenue.
Honourable Member, I think this matter you need to bring a motion so that we debate that sector specifically, so that we can make a resolution. But now,
I thank you for your guidance.
okay.
President Speaker, as I conclude, my prayer is that, one, government returns equipment of red paper, but two, that as the case goes on, like you guided, that the radio station is open, that the newspaper is also open so that they can continue working, because over 5,000 people now have lost jobs just because of UCC. That's what I was.
Honourable Tambwe, 2 minutes, quickly. Just 2 minutes, please.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, Right Honorable Speaker. Madam Speaker, I'm rising on a matter of very serious national importance. My home has been taken home by some armed men in army uniform for the second time. First time was after the LC5 election, when armed men, 6 of them, surrendered my home for 3 weeks, and I couldn't enter my house. This time, some armed men have been sighted in my forest near my compound, in the forest in my village, and in my forest. I reported the matter to police, and the resident state attorney, Lira, but nothing seems to be done about it. And I cannot reach my village, cannot reach my house for 3 weeks now. Now, I wonder what is happening. Because my people have told me not to go home. And yet we are going to have a very important function organized by Bishop of Lango Diocese on Sunday, on the 17th of this month, where some elderly people, about 1,500 of them, have been invited, pray with them, and then give them some gifts. And the calling from my village and my parish where function is going to take place is that my life is in risk, is in danger. I wonder what the security people are doing, and we cannot understand why those armed men are there, and they cannot be traced out, investigation cannot be done, and then we understand why and what they are looking for in the village. So my concern is that the Internal Affairs Minister, whom I've already informed, and then maybe army men, army officials to take over and ensure that if I'm going there tomorrow, my life is safe, even the people in my village. Because they are meeting women, even men, and telling them that we may not have very successful Christmas celebration. So this is a very serious matter, which thank you for.
Honourable members, yesterday I asked the Prime Minister to support, that the government should support the members who are having security challenges. I talked about it yesterday. So I equally asked them to assist you to resolve your issue. Next item.
Item number 3 on the order paper, the Biofuels Bill 2016 Bill Committee stage.
Bills Committee stage. Hey, please come back. Eee.
Procedure.
Order. Order.
The
Order.
voting machines are.
Right Honorable Prime Minister, the business we have today is a government business. But I see ministers leaving as if they have nothing to do with this. It's a government bill. Order.
Clause 7.
Honourable members, I put the question that clause 7 do stand part of the bill. Clause 7? Clause 7. I put the question that clause 7 do stand part of the bill. Those in favor say aye, the contrary no. I say.
Clause 8.
I put the question. No, Nandala, why are you on fire?
Madam Chair, I have an issue on clause 8.
You have a proposal?
Yes, I have a proposal.
Honorable Chair, do you have any proposal on 8? Okay.
So, Madam Chair, clause 8 is talking about obligation to obtain licensing. Madam Chair, I wanted us to change that and put a heading 1, that clause 8, the heading should be licensing. Then 1, that one which is a person becomes 1, so that it becomes 1, a person shall not produce, and it continues. Then 9 becomes clause 2, and it follows that. The reasoning is that it will help the law to flow. Because the first one is talking about a person shall not produce. Yeah, but you cannot produce without having a license. So first of all, 1, a person shall not produce. 2, the procedure how to apply, and then you continue like that up to 4. The justification is for purpose of the law to move.
Right, Honorable Chair. Yes.
No,
I think, Chair, I would not agree with that arrangement. What I was thinking of that Honorable Nambandala would bring on board is that when you read A, obligation to obtain license, for me, the title is okay. However, this title is making it an obligation on a person to have a license in order to operate. However, a 2 must be inserted for punishment in case somebody chooses to operate, probably produce or transport biofuels or blend the biofuels in petroleum products without license. The application for license 9 should remain a standalone. So I'm proposing that we change the arrangement. There should be 8.1 or 8A, that a person shall not produce or store, that will stand. And then we make BO2, pronouncing a punishment. A person who acts so without the license shall, then we pronounce the punishment. Thank you. Because when I looked at the punishment section or clause, it does not actually have any punishment on obligation to obtain license. If you look at it at the end there, I beg to move.
Yeah, what the colleague is raising, we have punishment section. So you cannot bring it here. Yes, please, we want to make a good law. 8, if we're talking about obligation to obtain licensing, that's not, if you want, you can say 8 should be licensing. It should be licensing. Then you say 1, a person shall not operate without a license. 2, a person who intends to, then he makes the application, the procedure. That's how it should continue. So, Madam Chair, this is my proposal, so that for people to understand, colleagues to understand. 8, I'm saying licensing, the heading. 1, a person shall not produce, store, or transport by that 4 sentence. 2, a person who intends to produce, store, blend, shall submit a written application. Because that's what licensing. 3, an application for license, then you give that procedure. And 4, that's better flowing of this law.
So we can agree and then ask the people to create the sequence.
I think Honorable Nandara's concerns have no harm to the bill, and I think they straighten it out in a more legible manner. I want to concede.
Okay, thanks very much. I put the question that clause 8 be amended as proposed by Honorable Nandara. Those in favor say aye, the contrary no.
Clause 8 as amended.
Put the question that clause 8 as amended, this stands part of the bill. Those in favor say aye, the contrary no.
Clause 9.
Put the question.
Madam Chair, clause 9 we have deleted it now because we have merged it. So we go now to clause 10.
You have deleted?
Yes, because.
Okay. So we got clause 10.
Yes, now we go to clause 10.
Put the question that clause 10.
Madam Chair, clause 10 have issues. Madam Chair, you are saying A, determine the requirements of the Uganda of National Environment Act. Now, I recall yesterday the chairman was struggling with the UNBS here. I wanted to insert under A after Environmental Act and Uganda National Bureau of Standards. The justification is that you cannot only look at only NEMA and leave UNBS. So, because of course the purpose. So, I was thinking that we insert it there to take care of the interests of the chairman yesterday.
So you want the two acts named here? The Environment Act and the Bureau of Standards Act? Okay, when the members have put the question that was 10 be amended as proposed, those in favor say aye, the contrary no.
Clause 10 as amended.
Put the question that was 10 as amended, this stands part of the bill. Those in favor say aye, the contrary no.
Clause 11.
Put the question, clause 11.
Madam Chair, clause 11, subclause 3. It talks that a license granted under this section will be valid for such a period. Madam Chair, somebody has made his investment of $10 million. He comes, they give him a license for 6 months. What happened to the investment? I think we should really have for some period here, minimum period, so that the other one can be prescribed by the regulations. The justification for my minimum period is for the investment somebody will put there. Otherwise, here, I can put an investment, and the man says, I cannot give you a license, then this would be an open check for corruption. So, Madam Chair, I want to make a proposal that the license shall be valid for at least 5 years, or such a period as may be prescribed by regulation.
Yes, Honorable Yomoki. And then Honorable Oye.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. From the way the
clause is framed, definitely will cater for the concerns of Naro Nandala, because if there is such a matter, then it could be sorted out in the regulations. But we cannot afford to put the time within the Act. Because if we in future wanted to amend, then again it will be requiring us to bring the Act to Parliament. It's better for the regulations sort out better. And since he has raised that concern, then when the regulation will be made, those concerns can be catered for at that stage. Thank you, Madam Chair.
No,
Madam,
where did you get the 6 months? Where did you get the 6 months from? Honorable Nandala, the one you're complaining about, where is it?
Madam Chair, it is saying a license granted under this act shall be valid for such a period. So that's saying such a period. The licensing officer can say, I have given you 6 months or 1 year. Now, if, where I want to agree with again Dr. Ramoji, if the regulations will come to Parliament to deal with, I have no objection. Because if they are left there, this will be abused highly. Madam Chair, you have not taken the license. We are the ones who have been involved in license. We know what it is.
Yeah, but honorable members, I think we should leave it as it is, because this license is one about construction. Maybe it requires 10 years, I don't know. To operate must be a different period, maybe 15 years, I don't know. Production, storage, transportation. You can't have a standard time frame for that. So let's leave it as it is. Depending on what they have applied for, the authority will give them. Yes, Honorable.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, when you look at this clause, we decided that it should be regulated by the regulations, paying attention to some of the practices that have been going on, where if, say, you give a license to somebody for 15 years, and it is not catered for under the regulations, that person can easily abuse the provision or the license given for the operation. So we decided that it should be regulated by the regulations, which shall look into the time frame.
So I don't know how you're not assisting us, because you have no amendment as a committee.
We don't have an amendment as a committee.
So we leave it as it is. Yes.
Madam Chair, when you look at the provision of when they say you must have a license to produce, store, transport biofuel or blended biofuel in a petroleum product, what about those ones doing research? Did they look at them? Do I need license to when I'm conducting research?
Research? But that's outside. Would it be under research under the biofuel?
Because somebody can be in a position of biofuel for purposes of conducting research, either to transform them into something else. Does he need license?
Minister, would the researcher holding biofuels require a license?
The researchers don't require licenses because they begin getting their instruments and then they all the time communicate what they are doing on these issues. They only give communication what they are doing.
Okay, on the members, I put the question that was 11, this stand part of the bill. Those in favor say the contrary, no.
Close forum.
Yeah, on 11.
We're passing.
No, there's something else, yeah. That may escape our attention. Chair, if you look at 11.2, a license shall, as the case may be, authorize the person to whom it is granted. The key word there to construct and operate facilities. I think, Chair, my understanding is that if you read 11.2, and 8, which is in our, 8 is amended, 8.2 is amended by Nandala, Honorable Nandala, but it's supposed to be 9. To me, I think these 2 and 11 should go there. Why? Because we don't want to invent a wheel somewhere. If this must be the term for the license, then it should be indicated clearly under the requirements for license. So that under 11, we only have conditions for license, where we are talking of licensing authority, one, grant a license, and the license shall be granted upon terms and conditions as the licensing authority considers appropriate. Then 3 now becomes 2. A license granted under this act shall be valid for such period as may be prescribed by regulations. I'm wondering why we should have 2 under 11 and not under 8, 2 as amended by Honorable Nandala. May the chair clarify.
You think it's in the wrong place? Place you want it under 8? I don't know whether you agree.
Well, when you look at it very closely, he could be having a point, and maybe the drafting, the arrangement can be realigned. Yeah, could be realigned for purposes of clarity.
So we shall ask the just people to find a good home for it, but we have already passed it, so they should find a home for it. Close serve. The question that was served, this stand part of the bill. Those in favor say the contrary, no.
Clause 13.
The question that was 13, this stand part of the bill. Those in favor say the contrary, no.
Clause 14.
The question that was 14.
Madam Chair, clause 14.
Yeah. Yes,
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, I just wanted to get clarification from the Honorable Minister in as far as 14A is concerned, where they are stating that you need to maintain a minimum stock of biofuel as may be prescribed by the regulation. I wanted to understand the intent of this, that when, yes, in the event that this is person of business, it's a private business, and it is up to the business person to determine the stock and not really giving any restrictions as to which minimum stock should be kept. And because, Madam Chair, it is even well articulated in 14.2, where they are talking of the facilities used in the production of biofuels as they in conformity with the national standards regulated by Uganda, and also D, where they are talking of submission of licensing authority data and information on the stocks. So what is the relevance of A when it is actually clearly given in protection of the investor at D? Further clarification, Mr. Minister. Yeah. There are two things I want to raise here. One, you're saying a person is granted a license to produce biofuels. Why don't you say biofuels or blending biofuels in petroleum products? The justification, because all these are the same facilities doing the same work, so they should be moving together. If you are good on that. Then two, you are telling somebody to have a minimum stock. Supposing who is government going to invest so that you tie somebody's cash in a minimum stock? Because if it's a private business, you cannot tell me I could produce what I sell, but not to say I must have a minimum stock. Who is paying for that minimum stock to be there?
Minister, can you explain?
In many areas, you will find, even in banks, they will say you must have some kind of liquidity ratio. For these purposes here, we say you maintain something for continuity, so that when you reach where you think this is where we should be, it must be there at all times, so that you are able to import in order to maintain that minimum level for continuity. Because if you are not told, you can even have a package and it just fit. So we say, even now when we talk about the government requirements of fuel, we say in our storage tanks, which we have been talking from here, we must have minimum of this all the time. So these ones obligations for you for continuity in your business. It's not restricting you to do anything.
Members, the question is that clause 14 do stand part of the bill. Those in favor say aye, the contrary no.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Clause 15. Madam Chair, I want to. We're going to close what? 14.
Maybe just to bring it to your attention so that in case we resume, I may not have to recommit it if we see no point in it. Madam Chair, 13 is about, that's where my point is on 13. Why I requested we don't move away is that, Chair, it is about the security of business, and when you have a license, is to make your business secure and also fluid, that you can pass it, you can assign your license to another party. Now, whereas you are saying there must be an information in writing to the licensing authority that you are signing your license to another party, it does not give the licensee or the person to whom the license is being assigned an opportunity to be informed. For example, if the licensing authority denies me the right to be assigned that very license, I think I should be informed in writing. Probably a period should also be given. So therefore, 13 in itself is so good, but in terms of specificity, it's very vague. It doesn't talk of days. It doesn't talk of the right of the licensee who is assigning his license, or the person to whom is being assigned, how probably he can complain and so on. And I think maybe in the later time, I will recommit it if we see the point in it, or I just ask for your indulgence to prevail so that we go back to it. Thank you.
No. Let's go to 15. 15.
Madam Chair, before you go to 15, you have made an
Madam
error.
Chair.
On 14, 3, the second last line says submit a proposal for ceasing production, inducting. It should be indicating. That one, there must be a correction of English there. And prescribed, as may be prescribed by regulations, as may be prescribed. D and D. There's an English problem there.
So we should ask the draft people to correct the language and the spelling. Yes. Honorable.
On clause 15, section 15, C, establish quality assurance systems. The person bidding or who holds a license in biofuel start establishing quality assurance systems. He can be very, very clever and establish systems that favor him producing some fake or some substandard product. So in my own opinion, we would say ensure, provide the quality assurance systems that come from National Bureau of Standards that are established by National Bureau of Standards, not the biofuel licensee holder.
Chair.
Minister, have you understood?
Chair. Chair.
Just wait.
To get the proper wording.
Sit down.
Information is under the heading Obligations of Person Granted License to Blend Biofuels in Petroleum Products. That's the area.
Chair.
Madam Chair, my interest was that as much as it has an obligation to establish quality assurance systems, we would be interested in the person, the institution responsible for quality assurance, which in this case we have in Uganda National Bureau of Standards. they should have at least systems that a licensee, a person holding a license in a biofuel should be able to satisfy. And we should be able to say he should be able to fulfill all the time these.
Okay.
No.
So supposing we add the word establish quality assurance systems as per the UN with the Bureau of Standards Act.
Yes.
Yeah, we could add that.
Madam, confirmation, Madam Chair.
Yes, Honorable.
Madam Chair, I would appreciate his comments, but I want to allay his fears because clause 2 cures his concerns. So if you read 2, it cures all the concerns he has raised. Thank you.
What is 2?
14.2.
No, 15. 15.
Madam Chair, we had pronounced ourselves on this. I think a member raised it. I know maybe we might have to be recommitted, but he has already talked about quality assurance systems. And I would like to state it, that his fear is captured in 14.2, where it says the facilities used in the production of biofuel shall be in conformity with the national standards formulated by Uganda National Bureau of Standards.
But the other one is about facilities. What about the product? I think 15.2 talks about the product itself. Does it conform to the standard?
My submission was a person holding license. If you give him responsibility to now set a system for quality assurance, we will test systems that favor him. And when you are an enforcer of the regulation or the law, you will not get him because he will tell you, this is my system. This is what the law says. So we would rather take away this responsibility. And maybe delete this, delete C15, and keep what is in 14.
So you are saying this is a function of the inspector, not of the producer?
Yes. He has to conform. His responsibility should be conform, but not to
establish.
Yes, he will establish systems that favor the person.
Minister, I think you have understood.
Some information right now. Madam Speaker, I agree with Honorable, but I just want to make some rephrasing of how it should be, how I think it should be. Madam Speaker, I think C should indicate that this person should comply with the established quality assurance system, such that it means it is coming from somewhere, and this person has to comply by the said quality assurance, the one who has been given the license. So I think if we put that that person must, as a requirement and obligation, shall comply with the established quality assurance system, I think it would cure the whole issue.
Madam Chair.
Madam Chair, procedure.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, I think we are contradicting ourselves. Madam Chair, if you look at 10A, there was already an amendment made by Honorable Nandala saying that to be granted a license, the person must meet all the conditions of NEMA, and he added we should put UNPS. Now, if you come to 15A, I do like the issue, the point my brother Tinka is raising. However, I think it still takes us back. Because if you look at the point, it's calling for those obligations you must set up. That means after setting up, you cannot be granted the license unless what you've set up is being approved by UNPS. Simply that.
Madam Chair,
Honorable Kakosa.
mine I seek a clarification from the chair and the minister. Obligation to have a license, to obtain a license, a person shall not produce, store, transport by fuel, land by fuel in the original bill. I want to know whether we are not disempowering our farmers. Suppose I want to make biofuel in cow dung, and is the local farmer. Does it obligate me to go and put a license? Where does our local people there are catered for? The local country. Because as much as I'm in the village, I want to make something lighting, I can do it locally. Why does this law tie me to go to look for a license?
Yeah, I think there's something that our honorable colleagues are missing. We must separate the general terms and conditions for license from this specific. This is where we're talking about a product where you are now blending biofuel in petroleum products. Now, listen, here now, 15 is trying to make a more strict and specific obligations on you who is going to do the blending, because those are the general terms that, okay, enter into the field or into the sector of biofuel. That's okay. But if you are going into this specific one or mixing biofuel into petroleum products, then strictly know that you are again subjected to these more strict obligations. And I think that's my understanding. And I agree with the committee, absolutely.
Yeah. What I'm trying to say, in the original bill, where you have obligation to obtain a license, a person shall not produce, store, or transport biofuel and petroleum products without a license or licensing authority in accordance with the requirements of this act. Suppose my local farmer who is down there wants to make gas, cow dung, and which we do locally. How do I do it? Why do you make me to go look for a license, whereas I can do it? You are disempowering the farmer to do it. Information.
Thank you very much. You see, when we try to localize these things and trivialize them, so talk about the cow dung, then you get it to blend. That one is not for blending. We are talking about for fuel blending. If you want to make your power using the cow dung, you can do it there. You will not bring it for blending. So I thought that should be said. Then the other one, obligation of a person, the one we have been talking about. I agree with these people who say, why don't you specify the controlling authority that these people, this person is obligated to follow certain standards. It is simply we are put here and say it can choose anything. It should be according to the set standards by the National Bill of Standards. I agree that one we can add that.
Then you look at 1A.
Madam Chair, I want to thank the Minister for conceding what Honorable Kakoza was raising. If you read Section 3 of the interpretation of the Act, it provides and defines what are biofuels. It means biodiesel and power ethanol. It does not talk about biogas. Where did he get the biogas? I'm confused and I'm lost.
Now, honourable members, just go to the objectives of the bill. It says to create a conducive environment for the production and management of biofuels, including promoting production of biofuels for power production, promote availability of alternative renewable energy. I don't think the man from Kabula is in this category. No, it's not. It's producing this local power. I think these are commercial power for the grid.
In any case, Madam Chair, cow dung, by the way, doesn't produce
ethanol or even biodiesel. It does not, cow dung does not. And we are not talking about that. So let's not confuse some of these issues. But your concerns generally are catered for in clause 8, which is already passed. Thank you.
So under 15, let us amend 15C instead of the word establish, say comply with the established quality assurance system.
Madam Chair, further amendment. Madam Chair, further amendment.
On that one?
Yeah, further amendment. If you look at 14.
We are on 15.
No, Madam, it will guide you. 14 says obligation of person granted the license produce biofuel. Now this one is the one who is getting biofuel and mixing it with the petroleum product. They are in the same category. Yes. Now if they are in the same category, we should import all number 2 of 14, number 3 of 14, and add here. The justification, they are the same.
No, if you read the head note in 14, obligation of persons granted license to produce biofuels, just biofuels. They said this one of 15 is producing biofuels, blending biofuels in petroleum products.
Madam Chair, let me help you to understand. What?
You are...
Okay, Madam Chair, this is how I understand. Madam Chair, Madam Chair.
Point of order. No,
right, Madam Chair. Right, Madam Chair. When you gave guidance, on 14 and 15, to have different headlines, my understanding was that the chair aptly understood the law. Now, the assertion by Honorable Nandala seems to allude and challenge your guidance, and even to allude further that you do not understand what you are presiding over. He is right, Honorable Nandala in order to allude so.
It's out of order. Let's take a vote on 15C. I put the question.
Yeah, I think amendment on 15. The arrangement maybe of the on my copy it talks of A, then jumps to C and D, where A is complying with occupational health and public safety. C is talking about established quality assurance systems, and D is submitting to the licensing authority data information and so on. So I think there should be an amendment to arrange the section to flow very well. Because there's no B here. It could be now A, B, and C. So we do away with the D. D does not exist now.
I think there is no B. So I put the question that clause 15 be amended as I proposed. Those in favor say aye, the contrary no. Now, I put the question now that the clause 15 as amended do stand part of the bill. Those in favor say aye, the contrary no. So then the draft people can work on the sequence. Clause 16. Put the question that clause 16 do stand part of the bill. Those in favor say aye, the contrary no.
Clause 17.
Clause 17. Put the question that clause 17 do stand part of the bill. 17.
Madam Chair, if you read this is penalties. Madam Chair, a company can never commit a crime. It is individuals who commit a crime and make companies what? Pay. So I want to amend where they say, the start right, where they say, may be charged. No, shall be charged. The justification.
What is that? Which one?
Madam Chair, it says.
16 what?
Subclause 1 says, where a person charged with an offense under this act is a body corporate. Every person who, at the time of the offense is committed, was a director, manager, secretary, or similar officer, or agent of the body corporate, may, I will say where I say may be charged jointly. Madam Chair, there is no company which can commit a crime. It is individuals who commit what? Crime. And when you allow a company to say that somebody will commit a crime and make a company pay, the people who suffer are the shareholders. So what I want here is to avoid people running out from their responsibility, we remove the word shall, may, and put shall. Madam Chair, that will help us to get criminals.
Madam Chair.
I think our microphones are now a problem because everybody can just pull.
Madam Chair.
Yes. Honourable members, I put the question that was 17. Okay, Honourable Nzo.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, on the same issue of vote 16.2, I realize, yes, Madam Chair, I realize that the 5,000 carries a point. Yes?
Where are you?
The 5,000 carries a point. 16.2.
You have left.
It's not. It's the same issue where we are, Madam Chair.
We're on 17.
Yeah.
We're on 17. Plus 17. Yes, Honourable Tinka. We're on 17. Maybe you need to stand up. What's bothering you, Honourable Nzo? We are now on 17.
Madam Chair, the amendment which was moved by Honorable Nandala in the laws that govern companies and their workers, there is a principle of vicarious liability. That a company is vicariously liable for the misdeed of a person working for REIT in the course of his duty. And now he wants an employee not to be protected at all. It becomes very difficult. I get an appointment letter. I'm in a company, and because of either of the job that I'm doing, somewhere a crime is committed, and you want me to be answerable. No way. Let the company take over. It's not my responsibility. If I have done my job well, if I have not done my job well, then the company should fire me, not to say that I should be prosecuted. No way.
Now, Honourable members, it's a principle, a cardinal principle of company law that the company is a separate legal entity from its officers. So we cannot argue with that. I put the question that Clause 17 do stand. Yes, Honourable Kat.
Madam Chair, you can see, if you go to 4, an employee is answerable on the level for any act or omission of the employees. Now, the employee is now becoming answerable. The employer. Now, the company is answerable for the omission. But if you look at 3, it says where a staff did something without knowing or it was an omission, not on his part, he's not answerable. So the member of staff or an employee is covered. That's why we must protect the company. And what you are talking about biofuel is also dangerous. Somebody can make it dangerous to the lives of the people. And if you don't do sanctions here for that person, you say the company will be responsible. And at the end of it, you have a problem. Biofuel is different from other things.
Honourable members, number 4 is the principle of vicarious liability, also established in law. I put the question that Clause 17 to stand part of the bill. Those in favor side, the contrary, no.
Clause 18.
No. Yeah, it's already amended. I put the question that clause 18, this stand part of the bill. Those in favor say aye, the contrary no. Ayes have it.
Clause 19.
Put the question clause 19 stand part of the bill. Yes, Honorable. You have an amendment?
Yeah. Clause 19, Madam Chairperson, is on the powers of the ministry. We propose to delete the word regular appearing in subclause 1A and B. The justification is to ensure that the premises should be accessed at all times for inspection.
So you can go there at night? You can go and inspect at night? That's what you're saying?
Most industries these days are encouraged to work at night. Yeah. Because of electricity, what have you, it is cheaper to operate at night these days.
So you don't want the working hours? It's anytime? Yes, Honorable. Winnie is on the floor.
We are just removing one word, regular, to say
during working hours.
During working hours.
Oh. Okay.
Madam Chair.
They are deleting the word regular. Honorable Masco.
Madam Chair, I just want to agree. We have already working hours. So we are saying during working hours rather than putting the word regular because we think it's redundant.
Yeah. So the idea is to remove the word regular. Yes, Honorable.
Thank you so much, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, I think regular means the frequency. It's not about the time that the premise is visited. It's about the frequency. So you can't talk about working hours or at night or whatever. Regular means the frequency. So if we are talking about how many times, if you want to regulate that, that's it, but you cannot regulate that. You can also not say it must be visited at certain times. Then inspection loses value. Someone will prepare for you.
That's why there's a proposal to delete the word regular and say during working hours. So I put the question that clause 19 be amended. Yes.
Yeah, I have two issues. One, I hope this part B, the powers of the ministry, does not take away the constitutional mandate of the Ministry of Gender, Labor and Social Development. Two, I think we should have regular and also working hours. The reason is regular is a frequency. The minister may choose to go there twice a month, or at any time that maybe the number of times, maybe 4 times in a month, and then during working hours. So the two can still go together.
Mm-mm. No, this is not an ordinary, this is a function of inspection. They are going to inspect. All they are saying is that you can inspect at 6 o'clock or 10 o'clock if they're open. You can inspect them.
Okay.
Yes. So I put the question that clause 19 be amended as proposed. Those in favor say aye, the contrary no.
Clause 19 as amended.
Put the question that clause 19 as amended, this stand part of the bill. Those in favor say aye, the contrary no.
Clause 20.
20.
Clause 20, Madam Chairperson, the committee would like to propose a deletion of the entire clause.
Why?
Powers of the minister through, the justification is that the minister through regulation gives effect to the provisions of the Act. Hence, there will be no need for directives.
So the law is complete, no more policy issues.
We harmonized and agreed that actually regulations will cover all that.
Suppose there are new areas. After the regulations, what will happen?
The new areas will be covered under the amended regulation.
Madam Chair, why I think we need to support the chairman on this. Largely, ministers, as much as they are guiding the policy implementation, they are concentrating about politics of the day. and sometimes can interfere with the functioning of the industry. If we don't restrict it to something that is written in guidelines that has to be implemented by an authority, then we are going to run into a problem of where a minister raises up and says, this plant has to be closed as a directive, simply because the person operating it is not supporting government. And that will be detrimental because they will have made a heavy investment in that plant.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Madam Chair. First of all, in this law, the authority is just going to be an official. It's a commission or someone. It's not a body. So I would think that the purpose of this provision was to give powers to the minister to intervene in certain exceptional circumstances. I would think that we should look at ministers in the normal duty they are supposed to undertake. I know that right now the ministers have gone off sort of they are not doing that they are supposed to do. But the actual power and mandate of a minister is to preside over a sector and perform. And we should have that in mind. We should not look at the current situation because this is temporary. In the future, it will be overtaken. So, and this law is going to outlive the current minister. So we should not to worry so much about that. But we should make a law for the people of Uganda and a law that will preside over at the rightful time. Now, in this case, and also if you look at the authority, just a commissioner. It's not going to be a big body. So therefore, they can easily make certain mistakes because just an official. And therefore, this provision, in my view, would be very, very useful in that circumstance. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Now, honourable members, we are talking about a new area. Not everybody knows about it. It's constantly evolving. Supposing a new product comes and the minister wants the authority to take it up, you are telling him, don't say anything. You will just keep quiet. You are emasculating the minister.
Right, Honorable Chair. Clause 20 is all about the minister's day-to-day work.
To his ministry?
Yes, to his ministry.
Yes.
And really to include all that he does every other day as part of his work in the law. I thought, as a committee, we thought it was a little bit...
Suppose we delete this and then the customer man says, you can't direct me. Me, I'm only using the act. What will happen? Yeah, I'm emasculating the ministers. Yes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. My point is basically to emphasize the fear of micromanagement. Madam Chair, many times we've seen when officials are literally overpowered, they tend to micromanage. And when you have the statement reading, for instance, the last leg of this statement, and the officials of the ministry shall comply with the directive, you may have an individual may sit in his office and literally is sending directives left, right, and center, and everyone can't work until those directives. Yeah, so this kind of encourages excessive power.
Minister, what do you think?
Thank you, Chair. We discussed on this matter, and it has apparently come out that even matters of policy, because we are saying on matters of policy. Now, when we were discussing, we almost agreed on the other issue, was to say the minister can have a lot of power. But someone should have a power to tell somebody to do something. If you are just not having power, he can even defy you. Why not say, because of policy, on policy matters? Honorable members, you can come to me and say this thing has not been done. Then I go to my office and say, you haven't done this. If I see it, I just write and say, please do this for us to continue. But But to say I can do nothing. Anyway, we had thought we would put in the regulation. Otherwise, the first instance we said it should be within the law.
Honourable members, put the question that clause 20 do stand part of the bill. Those in favour say the contrary, no. I have it.
Clause 21.
Put the question that clause 21 to stand part of the bill. Yes. 21.
Chair, I think when you go through
I think let the chair move his motion first.
21 is about prohibition of activities against a fair competition. Madam Chair, the committee would like to submit that under subclause 2, we delete the word all other conditions, all restrictions which are not commercially viable, so that the proposal now is recast in the following manner. 2, a person granted a license to produce or to blend biofuels with petroleum products shall sell biofuels without any form of discrimination by means of quality, quantity, or price. And the justification is that the phrase is ambiguous, the first one, as it does not define what amounts to other conditions or other restrictions which are not commercially justifiable.
Deleting after price, all those words after price. Okay, honourable members, I put the question that clause 21 be amended as proposed. Those in favour say the contrary, no.
Clause 21 as amended.
The question that, yes.
Chair, if you take a closer look at clause 21, and if you read 21.3, the price of biofuels at all stages for which licenses are granted shall be governed by the rules of supply and demand in a free and competitive market. Here, the word supply means either it is in excess, you release in excess, or you undersupply. That can even go into coding. Now, Chair, when you read that combined with the one, and you are saying a person granted license to produce biofuels or to blend biofuels with petroleum products shall not control prices or create artificial shortages of biofuels. Actually, in essence, clause 3 knocks out subclause 1. This is a free market economy where prices are determined by forces of supply and demand. So what do we intend to achieve when we put a prohibition supposedly in 1, and then we're opening up in 3 and saying, no, we will leave it to forces of supply and demand? And of course, my right to vote. So you're not going to control me. I think we need to rethink the whole of 21. I ask for the chair of the committee. Because short of that, then if you want to prohibit activities against fair competition, then let's do away with it, with the 3. So that subjecting the fuel prices, the biofuel prices to supply and demand should not now be in the equation. Short of that, then we have been beaten hands down by our own provision. Now, Chair, finally, when you say a person who contravenes, that is 4. A person who contravenes this section commits an offense shall on conviction be liable to a fine not exceeding 5,000 currency points. How do you punish me for my choice to run my business in a free market economy? So even it means then 4 automatically collapses.
Honourable Chair, supposing in 21.1 we remove the word not control prices and just say shall not create artificial shortages of biofuels or engage in other restrictive trade practices. Do you really want the price here? So that you can leave price down. So let us delete the word control prices and the rest of the. Is that okay? Okay. Honourable members, I put the question that was 21 be amended as proposed. Those in favour say the contrary.
subsections, clause 22. Under subclause 2, Madam Chairperson, committee would like to propose an insertion immediately after paragraph E, the following paragraph. And that will be F. Another paragraph F. The records and documents to be kept and returns to be submitted by biofuel producers, blenders, and sellers. The justification is to regulate exportation of biofuel, record keeping, and validity of licenses.
So you are introducing a new clause. No, a new subclause, a new subclause. A new subclause. Yes. Yeah, and then
I am seeing some contradiction on 22.3. Yeah, 22.3, and then 15.2. Madam Chair, 22.3 says the regulations made under this Act may prescribe in respect of conservation of the regulation a penalty not exceeding 2,000 currency points, and in case of a continuing offense, an additional fine not exceeding 5,000 currency points for each day or part of the day on which the offense continues. And yet, on 15 to right, Madam Chair, we are saying a person who commits an offense under subsection 1 shall, on conviction, be liable to a fine not exceeding 5,000 currency points, and in case of continuing offense, to an additional fine not exceeding 2,000 currency points for every day or part of the day during which the offense continues. I thought, Madam Chair, that there would be harmonization of this.
Hello, Minister. Can you explain the difference between 16.2, the penalty under 16.2 and the penalty in the regulation? Let's get to this.
Well, we thought specifics should be in the regulations, and that's why we were saying, because there are many offenses these people making that kind of industry, we said for the first offense, what they said, the offender who is not a habitual offender, it must be light. If you become habitual offender, it should be heavier so that it deters you from repetitive action. It could be dangerous. So we thought those things could be there, but Parliament can amend it the way it sees.
No, I think I've now read the provision. These are specific offenses. So the other penalty is a breach of the regulation. That's the other one. So they're different. They're different. Where? 23 too? The chair had made a proposal.
Madam Chair, this being a new sector, and for purposes of the House keeping in the know, I would want to propose that we insert a small subsection 4 requiring the Minister's regulation for information of Parliament to be laid on the floor of the House. No, the regulations which have been made. No, we don't approve. They are late. Of course, it it should be a requirement, but many times ministers run away, they make regulations, they never lay them on the floor of the House. And I realized this when we were making the UCC regulations, requiring the minister to lay them on the floor of the House. But he was running away from the responsibility of laying them on the floor of the House for the information. We want this being a new sector, that it becomes the requirement of the minister to lay them on the floor of the House for the information of members of Parliament.
It's a part of our
Madam Chair, we have inserted that even in our petroleum bill, and we have been laying those there. There is no harm if we have to lay those.
Okay.
Augusta House is very important.
Yes, Honorable Nandara.
Madam Chair, this law is talking about regulations, but there are no accompanying regulations to this law. And usually when you are going to deal with the first law, the regulations must be accompanied and the Parliament must approve them. And then the subsequent ones are also done in the same way. That's why I was trying to say why lay them. So, Madam Chair, I want to move an amendment that the regulations, this law, must be laid in Parliament and must be approved by Parliament before they become, because regulations law.
Madam Chair, my submission was to require the minister for the information of members of Parliament to be knowing what is going on in the sector. And because we have approved the act and delegated this subsidiary legislative powers to the minister to require him to make these regulations. So for us, as a top check measure, is to ask him to lay them on the floor of the House. If we are not satisfied with them, if we read through, you can raise an accountability question because and say this is the contravening either the act, but to require us again to go through another rigorous process of passing regulations. No, that is largely administrative, and we are not interested in going into that particular arena. We are interested in our interplay of politics and law.
Yeah, honourable members, I want the House to support that proposal. I'll give you just two examples. When we made the law on HIV, we established a trust fund, but up to now, regulations have not been done. The Islamic banking, we passed that act more than 2 years ago. We need to ensure that the minister brings the regulations here. When they live here, they go and live. Okay, honourable members, I put the question. Yes.
In that line, therefore, I think the amendment should be in 22, and then we make 1A, the minister shall by statutory instrument make regulations for giving effect to provision of this act, and then 1B, such a regulation shall be laid in Parliament, should be under this 22(1), so that we don't put it after. I mean, we don't put 4, a standalone 4 after the offense under 3.
Now, there were two amendments, one amendment by the chair and another amendment by Honorable Tika. I think for it is a question of placement. So let us approve the text, and then our legal people will align them. So I put the question that the clause 22 be amended as proposed by the two members. Those in favor say aye, the contrary no.
Clause 22 was amended.
Put the question 22 was amended to do stand part of the bill. Those in favor say aye, the contrary no.
Clause
Now, honourable members, this issue of time, I think we should make the government more accountable. not to go and sleep after making an act. Sometimes they just go away, we are finished with their law, and they are free. So I think we need a time frame for the regulation.
Your concern is our biggest concern. This afternoon, there is a member who raised the issue that UCC currently is not issuing licenses because the minister responsible for issuing guidelines on licensing has not yet read through the guidelines and approved them. So they can't proceed. So the issue you are raising is very critical. And I think as members of parliament responsible for making the law, Madam Chair, it is very important that what you are proposing, we actually put.
I want you to make a proposal because I can't. Okay, Minister, propose.
I propose 1 month.
No.
You cannot propose for yourself. You cannot play an oversight role over yourself.
No, it's proposing to make it part of the law.
Yes, Madam Chair, as a person responsible for playing an oversight role over the executive, I feel a period of 1 month is sufficient enough for the minister to have produced regulations. There is no reason for you to bring a law when you are not ready to regulate it.
Minister, let's check on
Madam Chair and honorable colleagues, it is very important that we have a timeline, and I think we welcome that proposal because it makes government executive accountable to Parliament and in a timely manner. But 1 month is not is very a short time because when you are making these regulations, you do consult here and there. So I think within 3 months, it will be a good time for us to consult, and then we come back here and have a good registration. Thank you.
So, Honorable Rakoja, and then presentation.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I also wanted to agree with him, although mine was 4 months. I thought they'll need to put structures in place, and this needs time. They will also need to approve some funding and all that. So I don't think you can do it in 1 month. 4 months was my suggestion. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Babiku, let's say Babiku, then I come to you.
Right, Honorable Speaker, I am seconding the proposal for 3 months because implementation takes care about planning processes so that what it takes will be included, and when we take off, it will be more effective. So I'm seconding 3 months period of time. Thank you.
No, yes.
Madam Chair, I want to say that we have been interacting with the ministry for quite a number of periods, and they committed them to us some time back that as soon as we are done with the bill, they're ready to come out with the regulation within 2 months. I don't know why my counterpart is not confirming the position the alliance committed to the committee, and I think if that is the position, then we should go by 2 months. Thank you.
No, honor members, I think we shall not do bill by bill. Let us have a common standard in this house. If we say 3 months, if they fail, then we take them to task. Let's go the 3 months. So the legal officers are required now to make that include that new clause. Yes.
Madam Chair, we are going to provide as a sub-clause 5 for that period, particularly in this bill.
Speak it quickly, then we move.
Madam Chair, I'm proposing that it shall be the duty of the minister to lay on the floor of the House the regulations in a period not exceeding 3 months.
And you, that's sub-clause 4?
We can
Provide
it should be
some
5. A stand alone.
Or it becomes 24 or 23. Then we amend the next 23 to become 24.
We make it
a standalone clause.
No, let it be a sub-clause of section 22. It does not have.
Regulations made under this act shall be laid by the minister.
Yes.
Within 3 months.
Yes, within 3 months, or we can either use 90 days. Within 90 days. Not exceeding.
Well, this one would be good, of course, to ensure that what we discuss, what we pass, is also put into practice. But this being a new area, really, maybe 6 months would suffice. I am not going to raise more noise on this. 3 months.
Okay, remember the question that a new clause, a new subclause be introduced as proposed. Those in favor say aye, the contrary no. Ayes have it.
Clause 23.
I put the question that clause 23. Yes.
I'm more than that. Yes. Would like to insert a new clause, and after Schedule 1, which should include the list of food crops that should never ever be used produced by fuel.
No, we have not yet reached there. We're not yet on the schedule. We're on 23.
Oh, we have no.
Okay, I put the question that was 23. Yes, or no?
Madam Chair, I want to amend 23 that the minister may with approval of Parliament by certain entitlement amend the schedule to this act. The justification is that now we have passed it as an act. Then to amend it, Parliament must approve. Because now it's our law, the act is being passed by Parliament, any change to it must be by again Parliament.
Honorable, you want this House to debate a certain instrument?
Yeah, you see it saying, the minister may with approval of Parliament by certain instrument amend the schedule to this act. Now we're going to pass the schedule.
And you want him to come back with a statutory instrument here for us to debate?
No, Madam Chair, but if you want to amend the schedule, why do you want to amend it? Since you have approved it, Parliament must again approve the amendment.
No, I think we cannot run the ministry. We cannot run the ministry like that. Supposing a new policy issue arises, the cabinet passes it, then they must come here. It can be laid, but not without approval.
Madam Chair, the way we have done with the regulation, let's make the work not very difficult for the ministers to do their work, their job, and they start blaming us that we are tying their hands. Let's allow them to do their work, but keep us informed, particularly when they are making an amendment to the schedule. We can put a provision in this instant case, provided that the minister may, with the approval of cabinet, by statutory instrument, amend the schedule to this act, and shall also cause it to be laid on the floor of the House.
Issues on the floor.
Hello, Madam Chair, thank you for this opportunity. Yes, I do appreciate the fact that we are so suspicious of the cabinet doing their work, but I think we should also be mindful that we have got an oversight role. It would really reflect poorly on us to always feel that we cannot carry out our oversight role effectively. So I would really want to request my honorable colleague to leave this amendment as it is, so that we allow it to read as it is. The minister may, with approval of cabinet by statutory instrument, amend the schedules to this act. You realize we have like 2 schedules to this act. They are not schedules that are heavy, that the cabinet cannot amend. So I beg that we leave it as it is. Madam Chair.
The question.
Madam Chair.
Madam Chair.
There's only one schedule. And
Yes,
it's about the currency point.
Honorable Carter. Yes.
Yes, Madam Chair. There's only one schedule. That is the currency point. That a currency point is equivalent to 20,000 shillings.
Information. The committee is proposing to introduce another schedule, Schedule 2.
Okay.
Madam Chair, so therefore looking at the currency point, for example.
Wasn't it there? Was it there?
Okay, if the schedule is in question, then for me, as long as it touches on the amount of money payable under this act, then a copy must be laid on table in Parliament, so that we have a say. We don't have a situation where a minister hijacks and then introduces currency points on his own, and then probably to speak for business or to punish businessmen. Thank you.
I put the question that was 23 to stand part of the bill. Those in favor say the contrary. No.
Clause 24.
Put the question that was 24. 24? 24. You, clause 24. Who has an issue of clause 24?
I do have an issue. Correction. Madam Chair, I do propose a correction on clause 24. I think it's an edit error in the main law. The second left line. I'm not doing correction.
Where?
Clause 24, second last line. Within 1 year. That is with 1 year. It was an omission. It's a correction.
Okay.
Within 1 year.
Okay. Members, I put the question 24. We have made it as proposed. Those in favor say the compromise.
24 as amended.
Put the question that was 24 as amended. This is part of the bill. Those in favor say the compromise.
The schedule.
I put the yes.
Madam Chairperson, the committee would like to propose creation of another schedule number 2, to ensure that there is food security in the country, especially after the commencement of this very lucrative industry. People may end up using every other foodstuff to make a biofuel. So we created another schedule of foodstuffs that may not be, or that shall not be touched in the manufacture, in the making, in the whatever it is of the biofuels. And these ones are maize, soybean, cassava, millet, groundnut, wheat, and bananas.
So, Honorable, you say, what's the rationale for that? Honorable Chair?
The rationale for this one is just to ensure that food security in this country is ensured. Yeah.
Honorable Chair. Honorable Chair.
Madam Chairperson, whereas we'd like to appreciate where the chairman is coming from on this point, but we don't see the reference in the bill the schedule is referring to.
Introducing a new schedule.
The new schedule, what he's saying, we only have a schedule here, what he's proposing. But what he's saying is not provided for in the bill.
Information.
So let me make it
Information.
clear. What I'm saying,
Information.
you are proposing a new schedule too. And I heard you speak what you want schedule to achieve. But I'm looking for your reference in the bill, what you are saying, food security. Where is it that I don't see here?
So, Honorable Chair, he's asking on which part of this act, this bill, is your proposal grounded?
Yeah. On the, you recall yesterday, that is after yesterday's session, you did instruct that we go and carry out a harmonization, and we come up with a renewed position. And it was during this harmonization that we felt it necessary to introduce a second schedule or to ensure that some of the food groups
Information. Yeah.
are not included in the production of the biofuel.
As I'm saying, I think you ought to have had a clause to deal with food security in the bill, then now produce the schedule.
Oh, we never considered that.
Madam Chair, as much as we want to accommodate his schedule at this stage, I think he's just running too fast. Before you reach there, does the government have a policy on food security in this country? So if you don't have, what is the basis of this schedule? So I think we should not entertain
information,
something that is not backed by policy,
Other information.
backed by research,
Information.
but simply because a member is very, very
information, Madam
ambitious
Chair.
and very active in legislating for the sector. No way.
No, Honour members, he's bringing a delegated responsibility of this House. We are done to ask him and the committee to study this bill and advise us.
First of all, right, the Honorable Chair, the Speaker, previously holding the floor, needs to know that the government, as we talk, has a food security policy. It is in place. It is, I don't have it here, but be informed now that government of Uganda has a food security policy in place.
Right, Honorable Madam Chair.
Madam Chair.
Madam Chair, I'm suggesting. Madam Chair, I'm seeking your guidance. What would be the harm of having this schedule in the statutory instrument? Considering that you don't have a grounding clause in this bill.
But if you believe that food should be protected from being used as a biofuel, and why can't you just create a one-sentence clause in the bill? I don't know. Is it important to protect some food? Do you believe it's important? Minister and then Honorable Sam.
Madam Chair and Honorable colleagues, yes, we are very interested in food security, but at the same time, we are also looking at productivity in the agricultural sector. If we can now produce cassava in large quantities to cater for food security, at the same time, what you don't need, produce biofuels you are adding value to the sector. So I don't think that we should really stick to this growth. The fact that it's not even was not well thought about and is not anchored within the principles of the bill, I would think that I propose that we should delete it. Thank you. Yeah, I can get clarification.
Honorable Samba.
Some information.
Honorable Samba.
Some information.
Let's have Honorable Samba.
I think it is really about appreciating that a few months ago, this country had a challenge with food. There are times when foods are plenty. There are also times when we have scarcity. So when a member came up to say that probably we should provide for it, we better think about that rather than saying that we drop it. Because, yes, there are times when we have plenty of maize. We need biofuels to consume it so that the prices of maize can go up. But there are also times when there is food shortage. Madam Chair, all we need is a regulatory ability of the minister to know when to allow certain foods to be given opportunity to be consumed under biofuels. Otherwise, Madam Chair, we stand a risk. Madam Chair, we stand a risk of sending, because the biofuel can consume all the food in terms of just production, and people will be left with nothing to eat. There are those times.
But there's also the economical. Let's hear from the coffee farmer, Honorable Davidan.
Thank you.
Please, not coffee.
Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Chair, we looked at this issue in two aspects. Uganda is a tropical country where the feedstock in terms of trees, jatropha, and all the others can grow very fast. We can even get all this grass and convert it into biofuel. We also, from biofuel, can get a lot of biofuel from all the waste that we have in this country, all the biodegradable waste. Therefore, in our thinking, is that we should not risk the food security of this country at this time. Food should be processed as food. If we have excess food, let's process it and sell it as food to get money. But since we have enough crops for feedstock for biofuel, let's let the food production chain to the food side, then maintain the other feedstock from crops into this biofuel, so that we can have a balance to protect ourselves environmentally and to protect the food value chain. That was our thinking. Why we need that some food products should be protected from this lucrative business.
I think that brings the question, which I don't know who raised it, that we actually have a policy. I've been complaining here about food being sold out of this country to Kenya, to Rwanda, to Tanzania. No one has said anything about it. I've been complaining here.
Honorable Chair.
Yeah,
Yes.
the standard practice, Chair.
Honorable Chair, I want to thank you. Mine is the concern of the threshold of the whole bill, the licensing and production. Even our molasses producers, the Skari Gulu, will they be licensed under this act? Will they be? What is the threshold?
Oh no, Bonapida, maybe we finished the licensing.
Okay, because I propose, because they are going to be after 1 year commencement.
No, we're talking about the schedule. We're talking about the council points and the new schedule.
Honorable Chair, members of parliament are going to come back here saying people are arresting local brewers after 6 months.
Information. I think, Madam Chair.
Let's address the schedule.
Information.
Madam
Chair.
Let's hear from Honorable Secretary. Let's address the new schedule. Let's address the proposal by the chair.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, while I agree that we need to ensure food security in Uganda, I remember in the 9th Parliament, I think, we agreed, or there was information that government was supposed to set up food silos. Now, I do not believe in curtailing the productivity of farmers. I would think that government would plan. Let the farmers produce as much as they can, and let government take care of the food security by introducing the food silos as they promised. We must encourage the farmers to be as productive as they can. Thank you. Madam Chair.
Further information?
Madam Chair, just hear from
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair. I have not seen anywhere in the world where they have restricted certain crops for biofuel. That's number one. If you restrict, it means people will be discouraged to produce. If we grow cassava in Uganda, for example, the cassava growing region needs to... Wait. So the best thing we should do in this law is not to include the restricted crops. For example, avocado gives for us about 6,000 per acre liters of biofuel. And there are many places growing avocado, and there is no market for that. So in order to encourage people to double production, we just need to leave it without restricting the crop. I think that will help us a lot.
Yeah. Honour members, the Minister of State for Finance brought the economic argument. Why don't try to grow what they can and also sell what they can? Because,
Madam Chair.
Why don't you leave it?
Madam Chair.
Why don't you leave the restriction?
Chair, that is also very dangerous.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. I have studied a bit of production of biofuels in the world. And one of the most important areas which particularly produce biofuels is maize. Now, the clarification which I'm trying to find out, we are debating as if we shall be limited to the production of raw materials from the current farmers. But when we pass the law, some investors can come into the country to grow maize, specifically for biofuel. Here we are thinking that we shall be limited to the current production from the peasants and all that. But if we have a law, we can attract investors who will come and just, I am going to Uganda just to grow maize or cassava for biofuel. Now, if we start exempting certain food crops, it means that we shall lose those type of investors. So this is well intended, actually, but we shall end up losing the economic aspects of this law.
Honorable Chair, suppose I was in Budadiri and I have 1,000 acres of bananas. I sell some and fail to sell some. Then you say, don't dare. What do I do with the 1,000 acres? What will happen? I've grown them, but you have said, don't touch, just eat, don't go. Why don't you leave it? Why don't you leave it? Okay, let's say, Senior General.
Now, Madam Speaker, I think there are two issues here we have to take into consideration. One, there is a free economy as a policy of the government. Somebody who comes to invest and his or her raw materials depend on these items we are talking about, I think should be allowed to process what he or she produced to enable her or him to go ahead with the project. Therefore, based on the free economy policy, I think we should not have restriction on production of anything. That I think is within. Therefore, it is also up to the government. Right now, government has in a process of establishing food stability. Government has already put up 60 silos in different districts of the country, where a lot of production is being done, so that not in the long run we shall be able to stabilize the food security, and therefore these worries of government has no policy does not arise. I think we should allow people as a free hand to process what they produce.
Honourable Chair, are you still insisting on your amendment? No, Honourable Chair.
Madam Chair, thank you so much. I think, bearing in mind the situation and that is apparently coming up, and the mood in the House, on behalf of the committee, I wish to concede the mood in the House of not.
I feel we don't need to lose track of this very, very important matter in this country. Whereas he erroneously raised this issue, and we are asking him to shelve it, it is very, very critical. Since I have been convinced, I have read the policy. You are talking of the silos, it is provided for in the policy.
We are not talking about the silos. We are dealing with the schedule.
Yes.
He was proposed
Can
to
we
bring a schedule.
ask the minister?
No. There's nothing discussed now. We have just on his proposal. So I put the question that Schedule 1, the only schedule this stand part of the bill. Yes? We are now dealing with the currency point only. The other one is not there. Yes. Okay, now, there you have it now. Let's go back to clause 4. We stood over it yesterday. Clause 4. Clause 4. Clause 4. Honorable Chair, clause 4.
Madam Chair.
I thought the chairman was going to make some.
Clause 4, Madam Chair. Petroleum products supplied in Uganda be blended with biofuels. Would like to substitute for clause 2 the following.
Order, honour members. You are holding other meetings there.
The Petroleum Supply Act shall, with necessary modification, apply to the supply of blended petroleum products in Uganda supplied under this Act. Justification. Section 5 of the Petroleum Supply Act 203 defines blended petroleum products as products derived from refining and the processing of petroleum and other oils. Therefore, the blended petroleum products envisaged are without biofuels. Based on this, therefore, there is need for modification of the provisions in the Petroleum Supply Act 203 so as to apply to the supply of blended petroleum products in Uganda.
Madam Chair, first of all, to start with clause 1. It says all petroleum products to be supplied in Uganda shall be blended. Madam Chair, that means from now on, we shall have either blended or by gas. That's not the right thing. So what we should do here, first of all, petroleum products to be supplied in Uganda may be blended. That's number 1. And number 2, these petroleum products are already under the Petroleum Supply Act. Now, the moment the product is blended, then it should be under Petroleum Supply Act. It now comes under Biofuel Act because we talk about blended biofuel. So, Madam Chair, I wanted to say against the chairperson that all facilities, now we speak another clause, that all facilities dealing in biofuel and blended biofuel be clearly marked as such. So that we want to avoid those which are not dealing in biofuel, biogas, biofuel, to also do.
But what Honorable Nandala was saying is what we had proposed yesterday before we had done. We had removed the word or and put may instead of shall. It is the second part that was causing a problem, and you have made a proposal. Just repeat your proposal.
Madam Chair, I'm repeating that all blended petroleum products be supplied. Because now, Madam Chair, the moment you blend it, it needs to be under the Petroleum Supply Act. Because the petroleum is talking about refinery of oils and whatever. So the moment it becomes blended, it leaves that area. So it should be governed under this because we're already talking about blended biofuel. So that's number one. So I wanted us to say all blended petroleum products supplied in Uganda shall be governed by this act.
But I think that's what the chair has proposed, that the other act will apply with the necessary modifications to this one.
Yeah, Madam Chair, the reason why I'm raising it, first of all, the moment the petroleum product came in, it was governed under the Petroleum Supply Act. Now, the moment you removed it now from that act, because now you're blending it, it will now be governed by that. But you cannot say, as modified, it will not be the right way, Madam Chair. So, the moment you blend it, it needs to be in the Petroleum Supply Act. Okay.
Yes, Honorable. Right, Honorable Speaker, Chairperson, in addition to what Honorable Nandara is saying, when we are all aware about cross-referencing, but when you say that the other law will apply with modifications, what are these modifications that the House is passing? Why are we making a giving a blanket authority that the Petroleum Supply Act will apply to this law with modifications? What are these modifications, and who determines what these modifications will be? That's my query in form of information. If that can be clarified.
So, right, Madam Chair, that's why this law is talking about blending. And the blending, you're blending petroleum products with biofuel. Now, the moment you blend, and the law is talking about biofuel and blending, you leave now Petroleum Supply Act. You come basically to this law. So that's why I wanted us to. We don't need that modification, as my sisters raised. What are these modifications? Unless we also want to amend the Petroleum Supply Act now, that these are the modifications which are going to deal with the blended. It can't work. So it will be subject to abuse. So that's what I want to say, that this should be blended. And the only other point which I raised, the facilities must be marked. Madam Chair, when you get the facilities which are doing biofuels or blended, they are clearly marked. A blended fuel. For example, if you went now to a petrol station called Shell, you will see here they're saying V-Power. So it is very clear. So it is also very important to avoid people selling customers what they don't want. Because this biofuel might be cheaper, and if you don't market, somebody goes there, they say, this is the normal petroleum product, yet it is biofuel. So it's better to market and clearly gazetted.
No, but you're moving ahead now. I wanted to know from the minister under the Petroleum Supply Act, the interpretation section of the product, it says derives these organic compounds, pure or blended, derived from refining and processing of petroleum, but not limited to the following: asphalt, bitumen, bunkers, heavy, commercial gases, methane, etc. There's a long list of. Do the biofuels fall here under the Power Supply Act? Do the biofuels fall here?
They don't fall there because you have to mix them. This one here, you get it as a process of refining, and the moment you have done it through that process, it's a different product. And that's why when you get it, and you get this bio, then you mix. So the other one is not mixed.
So how do you want us now to do the blended products, which are not part of this?
According to what you were saying is, when it comes to commercialization, he has already bypassed the processing and so on. Now when you go to sell, then it should go and fall after, under the supplies, the Petroleum Supplies Act, which is in the market. That's what he says. The new import now. That it should be controlled by the Supply Act because it has now become a usable petroleum product because it has been blended.
So when are you amending the Power Supply Act to include biofuels?
Information. Because this is a new import which has suggested, we didn't intend to amend that one because we wanted this to be independent. Information. But if it is in the wisdom.
So why don't you create the conditions of under this clause? Why don't you put the proper clauses just in this bill and leave the Power Supply Act alone? And the Petroleum Supply Act, leave it alone and be concentrated on this one. Why don't you build here the conditions?
I think we are only saying that the Petroleum Supply Act will apply to the biofuels only in as far as where it is not provided for in this act. Where it is not provided for, then we apply the Petroleum Supplies Act. Just as simple as that. That's what we are trying to put in.
Those involved in the industry have to go to court. What the chair was raising, when are you bringing the amendment? Because I am so sure that in the interpretation of biofuels are not named as part of the petroleum supply product. They are not. I'm so sure. So why do you want to apply a law on something that is not defined by the act? Why? I don't understand it. You want to achieve too much today by using this act? No. Go and do your work.
The Honorable Nandala had the whole point. Because now we are talking about product, a product of the biofuel blended with the petroleum governed under the Petroleum Supply Act. Now, and this is an act, going to be an act on its own. So I find the logic in what the Honorable Nandala is saying. Because the petroleum products are governed under the Petroleum Supply Act, the moment we blend, and all clauses and sections of this act have really come up and we have mentioned how to govern storage, production, and everything, then we do simply insert a section that once it's a blended product, it is governed under this act. That one will save us going back to the Petroleum Supply Act.
Clarification? Yeah. Further clarification. Yeah, that's exactly what this bill has done. I think my understanding of bill is that we are saying, can petroleum products in Uganda be blended with the biofuel? The answer is Yes. This is what 4 is trying to answer. Now, the moment it's blended, you have a product which has petroleum products in it with the biofuels. Then it must be guided by Petroleum Supply Act. I think, Right Honorable Chair, this provision under 4 is more clear than anything else, except for the word shall, which I thought were amended yesterday. But if we want it to be very strictly, that it shall be blended, and then we are not saying in the context of all products, but we are saying if it has to be, then it must be blended with our petroleum products in Uganda. So I think for me, this 4 is very clear, Right Honorable Chair. I don't see any anomalies here.
It's not very clear when you read the word supply 2 times in the same sentence. All blended petroleum products shall be supplied in Uganda, shall be supplied under the Petroleum Supply Act. So let's correct the English. I think let us say that the Petroleum Supply Act shall apply to all blended petroleum products. And end there. Okay. So let us amend it that way so that it's clear. Yeah, this is clear law. Everything falls under it. Okay, the members have put the question that clause 4.
Right Honorable Speaker, allow me. In Uganda, people do own land and they do sell land. But because land had such an impact on families, it was thought important to regulate the sale of land, that before you sell a piece of land where the family derives a livelihood, the wife should sign. That was limiting the powers of the owners of land to sell land anyhow, and thus protecting the family.
Honorable,
This issue,
where does the land come in the clause 4?
Right Honorable Speaker, I'm giving that as an example.
No.
This issue,
Please.
This issue of food security, Right Honorable Speaker. The issue of food security for the families before they can sell, for example, maize byproducts.
We have freed the food. All those crops have been freed. All we are saying here is that once the products are blended, the Petroleum Supply Act will apply. That's what we are saying. What has that got to do with food? The human rights of the blended products. Then let us take the vote on the blending. On the members, I put the question that clause 4 be amended as proposed. Those in favor say aye, the contrary no. I submit.
Clause 4 as amended.
Put the question that clause 4 as amended. This stands part of the bill. Those in favor say aye, the contrary no. I submit.
Clause 6.
You also have to over clause 6. Honorable Chair.
The committee did agree with the provisions of the National Bureau of Standards in their original law, and we agreed to abide by your humble advice. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. There is no clause 6. Put the question that clause 6 be deleted. Those in favor say aye, the contrary no. I submit.
Clause 3.
Any changes on the interpretation? Clause 3.
Madam Chair, we, under interpretation, under A, would like to substitute for the definition of biofuels, that is minister, to ministry, and also the following. That biofuel means biodiesel, bioethanol, and other fuels made from biomass and primarily used for motive, thermal, and power generation with the quality specifications in accordance with national standards. Madam Chair, the justification for this is for mainly clarity on the use and the quality of the biofuel. Minister means the minister responsible for energy. Ministry means the ministry responsible for energy. And B, under B, of course, has collapsed. So those are the only amendments we wanted to put in place.
Honourable members? Yes, Honourable Nanda. And then Honourable Nkobi.
Madam Chair, I'm not objecting to what the chair has raised, but if you look at blended petroleum products, you're saying mean is a petroleum product that is blended with by beer. And when you look at the fourth scale, which talks about the obligation of granting license to biofuels with petroleum products. Now, Madam Chair, if the minister, the one who is going to give the license, is the one of by, you said he changed it to energy. Minister is responsible for energy. Why? Why are we deleting? One of the questions is, why are you deleting the one of my minister responsible for biofuels and you put minister for petroleum? Yes, basically this is dealing with biofuels. And I wanted also to change this definition here. Means I don't want us to call it petroleum because it has stopped being petroleum. It's now a blended biofuel. I think this was better. Why don't we remove the word petroleum to mean a blended biofuel and remove the word petroleum? Yes, because the blending only applies in two cases. Where you get the petroleum product and add by gas, by fuel. That's it. At the moment it has changed.
Much, Honorable, for giving way. I just wanted to give some clarification that although we are blending, we should be mindful that the petroleum product is at 80% and the biofuel is at 20%. So the petroleum issue is not completely out so that it loses the meaning of it all. Thank you.
Information? Yes. When you look at the renewable energy policy, talking about biofuel in 3.5.7, biofuel promotion and production, and you look at clause 3, it is talking about the commissioner petroleum supply to license the blending of the 20% of the biofuel. So automatically this blended petroleum is under the Petroleum Act and it is under that ministry. So I agree with Honorable Wynne.
That one, okay, that one I concede. Now the last one is the petroleum product. Means petrol and diesel. Why haven't you put paraffin? I want to know the means. Why haven't you put paraffin? You can blend it because you want to buy your, so that you reduce your carbon monoxide.
Not blended.
So now if it is blended, where do you put the paraffin? Mr. Minister, I want you to tell me under what category do you put paraffin?
Madam Chair, when we were discussing the working hours and we removed the word regular, it was mentioned that working hours include night hours. So I was wondering whether we shouldn't define them within this interpretation section to mention that it's the hour shall include the hours of between say 8 a.m. up to midnight, or does it run the whole 24-hour cycle? we could also leave it to be defined in the regulation. But I think we need to come up with it since it is peculiar and it's not the usual 8 to 5. Thank you.
I think the working hours for the company. So all we are saying is that these techs can go there whenever they're working. Whether it's a Sunday, they're working night. We should leave it. Yes,
Madam Chair, still under interpretation. The interpretation of seed stock, I need to be helped to understand because we opened up and said we should not discriminate on the crops that are going to be used. I don't know how we are going to describe the raw materials that come from other crops because their feedstock means the raw material from which biofuel is manufactured and includes animal fat, molasses, and sweet sorghum stock. Where does that leave others?
But the word include means they can be more, but they can be more. So it's okay. So the members have put the question that clause 3, this stand part of the bill. Those in favor say, as amended, this stand part of the bill. Those in favor say, aye, the contrary, no.
Clause 3 as amended.
The question that clause 3 as amended, this stand part of the bill. Those in favor say, aye, the contrary, no.
The title.
The question that the title, this stand part of the bill. Those in favor say, aye, the contrary, no.
Motion for the House to approve.
Yes.
Madam Chairperson, I beg your indulgence to recommit clause 9.
You commit to when we are up there.
Okay.
You have to make the application.
Okay.
Just make the motion.
Madam Chairperson, I beg to move that the House do resume and the committee of the whole House report there.
Honour members, the question is that the House to resume and the committee of the whole House to report there. Those in favor say aye, the contrary, no.
Report from the Committee of the whole House.
Right Honorable Speaker, I beg to report that the Committee of the whole House has considered the bill entitled Biofuels Bill 2016 and passed it with amendments.
Motion for the adoption of the report from the Committee of the whole House.
Let me move the adoption first. Minister, first move for adoption.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that the report from the Committee of the whole House be adopted.
So now you can stand up. Honorable.
Be adopted.
Okay.
Right, Honorable Speaker, one, thank you very much. So far, so good. However, after the harmonization, we did agree, request,